Hello, my lovelies, and a very warm welcome to Tuesday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be exploding with an almost intolerable smugness into your eyes and ears, and possibly other orifices as well, over the next 59 minutes. I'm a minute late, and I can only apologise. I was late leaving work. I was late getting home. I was generally just all behind like a cow's tail. So I've not even had a slurp of splosh yet, but I'm going to now. Ah, that's wonderful and very welcome. And what is also wonderful and very welcome is being here once again with you lovely people. The creme de la creme in terms of YouTube viewers. The most charming, delightful, and fragrant community members that any channel person type thing could possibly hope for. You are absolutely right. If you were in a brochure, if you were in a car brochure, then you would tick all of the options boxes, all of them. Heated steering wheel, yes. Heated electric memory seats, totally. Electric rear sunblinds, without question. Quad zone digital climate. I mean, you are just absolutely wonderful. And I couldn't love you any more than I do. And I would dearly love to visit you all in alphabetical order and demonstrate my love for you by holding you in a manly embrace and gently, tenderly, lovingly feeding you a pickled onion, or well, maybe a small pickled onion. But if it was one of those really big pickled onions, then I'd just feed you hot. I mean, I'll show you the sort of thing I'm talking about, and then you can let me know what you would be comfortable with. Um, right, well, I can give you a choice. So, if you could just imagine that I'm holding you in a manly embrace. Now, which would you like to be fed with? Original pickled onions, but you will notice that they are slightly larger, or fiery, hot and spicy onions, but they are smaller. So, I mean, I'm happy to give you the choice. I think that you deserve it. I think that you've earned it. And I would feel remiss in my duty as a host not to give you that free choice of pickled onions at the point that I came to your bungalow and held you in a firm but tender manly embrace. If you could let me know beforehand, then that would be great, because quite honestly, if I am holding you in a manly embrace, I'm going to struggle to manipulate 2 jars of pickled onions. Whereas if I know your choice in advance, then I could I could take the lid completely off your jar of choice. I could put it somewhere nearby. I could then hold you in an embrace, and then I could remove one hand to reach in, get the onion of your choice, and gently but tenderly feed it to you. Oh, what a magical moment that would be. I mean, quite honestly, I can't think that there's a YouTuber on this earth that doesn't aspire to moments like that. And that inspires me because, you know, I am not devoid of the possibility of being inspired by you people and what you say to me. I mean, when I come along to these little things of ours, then quite frankly, I'm all ears. You know, for the entire hour or 2 hours if it's a Monday night, I am more than happy to listen to you and take in your wisdom and whatever else it is you've got to offer. And I have been inspired to come up with Tuesday Night Live's feature one. Now, What I would like you all to do, all of you, please, would be to name in the comments, in the little chatty box, you know what I'm talking about. God almighty. Sorry. I lapsed into blot talk then. It happens every now and then. I'm very suggestible, you know. Anything the voices in my head tell me to do, I pretty much do them, irrespective of how inappropriate it might be. But in the comments, I would like you to name a YouTuber that you are subscribed to. In fact, let's narrow this down, right? Go into your subscriptions tab on your YouTube doings, right? And name the channel that is at the top of your list. Because, if you weren't aware, that will be the one that you watch most frequently. So I want you to name that channel in the comments, and I want you to tell me what comestible, what item of food you would like the channel person in question to feed you whilst they were holding you in a manly or womanly, depending on the channel, embrace. So, for example, if the top of your list on your subscriptions tab is Hubnut, then you would put Hubnut and a spicy meatball, if that is what you would like him to tenderly but gently feed you while holding you in, if it was Hubnut, a manly embrace. If the top was Steph of iDriver Classic, then you would write Steph of iDriver Classic and Turkish Delight, or whatever it is that you would like her to feed you while she held you in a womanly embrace. And that should get things rocking and rolling. Now then, my thing's not working. Why is my thing not working? Oh, is that the beginning? Is that actually the first comment? Oh, I suppose it must be. I've been a good boy. I've switched on to all messages, so I'm not going to miss a single pearl of joy from any of you. So let's crack on with them. We'll begin with the first cab off the rank. Our first community message comes from Barry Scrotter, channel member. Oh, yes. The owners of the land who illegally demolished the Crooked House, which is a crooked pub near Douglai, for those who don't know, have been told by the courts that they must rebuild it within 3 years. And that is absolutely true, but I've got no idea how that is going to work. Now, the Crooked House, again, for those who aren't aware, the Crooked House was so named and became famous because it's all on the wonk. And the reason it's all on the wonk is because it subsided because of old mining works underneath. So my question is, how are you, or how are they, or how is anybody going to rebuild it exactly as it was? That's going to be tricky. And I would imagine it would invoke some health and safety issues. And which architect is going to be happy to put their name to somewhere that's on? I mean, I suppose they'd have to do it so that it was on the wonk, but safely on the wonk. And will it be the same? Well, no, probably not. But I suppose it's the best outcome of a bad job if it got rebuilt, isn't it? I'm sure it would be very well supported. And as my longer term viewers will know, I do indeed have some personal history with the Crooked House near Douglai, because the day that I passed my driving test, that evening, on my first evening drive, I drove to the Crooked House in my Austin Ambassador 2-litre HLS, registration FFD 526Y, with Donna Tranter, who was my fiance at the time. or she might have just been my girlfriend. She might not have been promoted to fiance at that point. I honestly can't remember. But yeah, so there we are. There we are. It is. It has been ordered to be rebuilt, and we will see what happens. Sophie is with us, and I will soften my voice because Sophie is a female, womanly type chap, and and as such, my voice should be softer when I am. I'm not emulating her. I'm not impersonating her, but I am reading out her words. I am voicing her inner thoughts. And I think that it would be appropriate to do that in a softer voice. So here we go. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sophie. Oh, I won't be in the live stream tonight as I feel rough and I'm also going to bed. Oh, okay. Love you all. Hope you're okay, Boaty. Hope your day's been good. All my love and good night all. Okay, well, good night, Soph. Lord Stiff Upper Lip is with us, says hello, Boaty. Jimmy Quinn says good evening, Boaty and everyone. Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5, good evening to all you lovely peeps. Tracy, the Greenwood, our naked viewer. Oh, yes. Oh dear. Well, let's welcome tonight's inaugural wine burp, shall we? I think I. Oh, God. Well, I was going to say, I think I quelled the wine burp quite successfully, but then I was startled by a hiccup. Have you ever been startled by anything? I was startled by a bit of wind breakage once. Well, whatever you want to call it, a trump, a butty burp, a whiz butt. I was taken by surprise by one of those, and it led me to create a new not world. I'm not God. Fartled. Fartled was the word I created. And that means to be taken by surprise by a fart. You can see what I did there. I combined fart and startled, and I made fartled. And I was very pleased with that. I thought, that's a day's work well done. Tools down, open the wine, feet up, happy days. That's something I don't do. Do you lot put your feet up on a regular basis? When you're in your bungalows relaxing, do you have your feet inclined? It's just occurred to me that I never do. Now, I'm sure that some of you might have those posh armchairs or settees with the elephant's trunk doings where you can recline the back and put your feet up. And you can just recline and be in that kind of mode. I never do that. The only time that my feet are up are when I go to bed. And I only go to bed if I'm going to go to sleep, unless, I'm going there for pottering purposes. But the point is that unless I'm in bed or on bed or, in that environment, then I never ever have my feet up. I don't have one of those sexy recliner feety uppy things. And even if I did have, I wouldn't use it. So I never go into my front parlour. I didn't buy it, because after the divorce, I've been permanently poor. When I moved into my post-divorce house, I was given by a lovely colleague a brand new black leather sweetie thing, an armchair and a sofa or a settee or whatever you want to call it. And that was 8.5 years ago, and I still haven't sat on it. And I have a lovely front parlour through there. Some of you have seen it. It's rather nice. It's an old cottage parlour. It has wooden timbers. There's an atmospheric fire. I've got a beautiful coffee table in there. It's got a green theme, and I do like a green theme. It's got a green carpet, and I found a beautiful footstool in an antique shop in a matching shade of green, and it's got some beautiful other bits of period furniture in there. I never use it. Never go in there. Well, I go in there. I go in there because I have to go through it to get upstairs, and but I don't habitually use it as a place to relax or a place for anything else really. I've got my booze stand in there, obviously. And when I've had people living with me here in Windy Bottom, which has happened, I have had people live here, if not live, then, well, I mean, let's see, who was first? The artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty would have been the first other person to spend time here. And yeah, she used to, she was no stranger to spending a night here. And then there was Fran, obviously, Bernard was, again, no stranger to dear old Windy Bum. And then, of course, we were into Boo, quite literally on many occasions, but we don't need to talk about that. Some things should always remain private as far as I'm concerned. And you know me, darlings, I'm a very discreet man. I'm not a man to be indiscreet or, nothing of that nature. And then, of course, Chinese Madam called it home for a year. What a bloody year that was. But they've used the parlour. I never do. And now I can't remember why I'm talking about the parlour. Oh, because I was talking about putting my feet up. Why was I talking about putting the feet up? Can't remember. I think I was telling you how Tracy's always naked when she watches this. But there we are. Anyway, Tracy says, evening all. I'll be here for the first 30 minutes. That's very exact. And then we'll have to play catch up another time. Fair enough. Now then, says Ivor Spotty Botty. A very good evening, Boaty, and everyone in the chat. Chris Maguire says evening all. Project Nigel, Captain Mustard says yes, answering a question that nobody has asked. And then follows it up with a slightly more appropriate hello, but a very exclamatory hello. Not a kind of Leslie Phillips hello, not a hello. No, nothing like that. It's hello! Like a Timmy Mallet hello on a Saturday morning. Because there is, quite frankly, an exclamation mark after the O of hello. Evening, Mustard. How the devil are you, my dear chap? Bad Books is here, says evening all. A bizarre moment, says Trace. A viewer of mine on Twitch who came via another streamer knows Rover Joe in real life. How bizarre is that? 6 degrees of separation. That is quite bizarre. James Ray, the lovely Jim, is with us. Good evening, Mr. Tickles, and to all. And Trace goes on. I found this out because I was cheerleading Boaty and Mustard on my stream and said they're into rovers. This viewer said his friend does YouTube and is into rovers, and there we go. Barry asks, Boaty, has your engine room cooled down? Oh, dear. Not a happy story. Now, my engine room started malfunctioning before I went to bed last night. So, I had to pay a few visits to the, I had to, yeah. And I rather thought and hoped that might be an end to it. And it would appear that it was. This morning, everything went as normal. I had, Mr. Brown popped to reception at around the normal time, and everything went as per normal, as per schedule. No issues, nothing found. MOT passed. But then after lunch, then the engine room went into complete and utter meltdown. But it was transitory. Many things in life, whether pleasurable or awful, are transitory. That's the great thing about life. It's like a conveyor belt that keeps whizzing along, or a ghost train. So that even if I used to love a ghost train, if I win the lottery, I'm going to have a ghost train built in the garden. Oh, I absolutely, oh God, I just love trains full stop. I like cable cars too. And of course, funicular railways or cable hauled tramways are my absolute favourite. And if I had to pick, I would go for a cable hauled tramway or mountain railway over a funicular. I would. I'm just being honest. Why was I talking about that? Oh, I was talking about a ghost train. Oh yeah, things in life are transitory. They go past. And my engine room malfunction was one of those things. This evening, touch wood, all has been very well. Good evening, Boaty, and good evening, chat, says Dad Smith. Hello, everyone, says Tricia Alderman. Oh, we're on to pickled onion chat. Barry Scrotter says the Garner's ones, they're the best. I'm surprised you can afford them. Oh, it's amazing what you can afford when you shoplift. Five. Well, that sounds slightly dodgy, Ivor. Bad Book says Boaty is looking radiant in his Songs of Praise stuntman suit this evening. How very kind of you. Barry says, can we just shake hands? The only one allowed to tickle my tinkle is my wife. I wasn't going anywhere near your tinkle. I was just going to hold you in a manly embrace. That doesn't mean making a dive for the little tinkle. I'm not that way inclined. No, I mean, no offence. I'm sure if I were to be that way inclined, you may be you may be my type, but I'm not, and I don't know what you look like, so I don't know if you would be. I don't even know what my type would be. What would your type be if you batted for the opposite team than you currently bat for? That's a weird one to think about, isn't it? Boaty is a feeder now, says Barry Scrotter. This is disturbing. I can't read that one either. Hello all, says HW100. Oh, this is held review. Now then. No, I can't read that. Right, here we go from Trace. Top of Trace's subscriber list is... Oh, Boaty's World. Hooray, I've won something. Second is Project Nigel. And third is Big Jet TV. And okay, I opt out of being fed by fingers. Thanks. Oh, what a letdown. What a letdown. I come top of your list and I don't get to feed you. Oh, come on, Trace. What about half of Mr. Kipling's French fancy? You could manage that, couldn't you? My fingers are clean-ish, probably. Hey, chat, and hey, Boaty, says John Studley. Hope you're doing okay today, mate. Bad Book says, YouTube channel is the Crap Car Collective. And I don't think that's your channel, Boaty. I don't think it is. Too complicated, says Mustard. Yeah, well. If the Crooked House was still there, Boaty, you would have proper trouble getting the camera straight. I would indeed, Barry Scrotter. Who goes on? I'm happy they have to rebuild it purely because of the underhand way they tried to get rid of it. Yeah, that wasn't very good, was it? If it's rebuilt, are they going to unwonk it? Well, that's the question, isn't it? Smelly Hole says, Boaty, I've missed you. Would it be rude to ask? Could I have a go on you sometime? Oh, you have to love the direct approach. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, obviously, one of the Turks. There's a Freudian slip if ever you wore one. One of the perks of the top tier of channel membership is that you do get to have a go on me, with one proviso. You are not allowed to have a go on me if that involves me making a major change of lifestyle choice. I have to draw the line somewhere. Other than that, there is pretty much nothing that I wouldn't do for my top tier channel members. And do remember, channel membership is available right now from a very reasonable 99 pence per month. Terms and conditions apply. Please read the small print. And remember, the value of your modern classic car can go down as well as plummet. Thank you for listening. Now, back to the chat. Well done, Smelly Hole. That made me laugh. The thought of my nakedness brought brought Boaty's wind up. Well, it would, wouldn't it? I subscribe to way too many channels, says Andrew Buttigieg, mostly car related and some aircraft and scale models. Bloody boring old git me. I tend to lie down on the sofa, says Buddy Scrotter. John's got some good news for once. His YouTube channel now has 50 subscribers and he's very happy. Oh, good for you, John. I'm very happy too. And Barry goes on. I'm subscribed to 180 channels. Bloody hell. And Bad Book says, John, you have 51 subs now. Rover Joe is here and says, Boaty in his wonderful way. And of course, we all give Rover Joe a group virtual hug whenever he appears. He's a lovely chap and he would love nothing more than to be enveloped by us all in a warm community, feel good gangbang of a hug. And Rover Joe, I don't know, did you see the earlier comment when Trace was telling us all that on her live stream, she happened across somebody who knows you in real life? What a coincidence, audience. Simone is here, but only for a fleeting visit, she lets us know. I'm feeling lonely and pissed off, so I won't stay. Hope you're all okay. Simone, it's when you're feeling lonely and pissed off, it's exactly when you should stay. This is me. This is us. This is our community. That's when we're here for you, when you're lonely and pissed off. This isn't one of those places where you have to come along. And I'm not Steve Wright. Well, I mean, I'm not quite as dead as he is yet, bless him. He was too young, really, wasn't he? Too young and too vibrant. But there we are. These sad things happen, don't they? But my point is, I'm not going to come along and pretend to be on top of the world every day like he had to. I do these live streams when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling ill, when I'm just pissed off with the world, and I don't hide that. Let's face it, I don't hide drunkenness either. There's a discernible difference in my presenting style between the beginning of the live stream when nothing has been taken and the end of the live stream when I'm three quarters of the way down a bottle of wine. So Simone, my lovely, don't you dare bugger off because you think you're not good company. Come and share your woes with us. That's what we're here for. That's what the community is for. It's when you're feeling low, when you're down and lonely, and you need someone to help, and the night is lonely. That's when we're here for you. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. In it, bruv. A live stream from the parlour. You'll need your smoking dressing gown on. We should do that one night. We should do a live from the parlour. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a parlour live, and I will. I'll put my smoking dressing gown on. Hello, Ben's here. Sup, muddy funsters. I love that. Hello, Ben. How you diddling? Alan Jones is with us and says good evening. Good evening, Alan. Thank you for joining us. Boaty went on the ghost train and the ghost screamed, says Bad Books. Mr. Brown is waiting in reception. That's a new one. I approve. Oh, there we are. Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this, Paddy. I knew that. Did you fund my wife? No. She sucked my duck. Right. For those who don't know, if you're new to this live stream, then we tend to go into quoting old favourites, not the 9 o'clock news, Father Ted, or in this case, Harry Enfield's television programme, or Harry Enfield and Chums, whichever one it was. And we just drop in and out of it. And because we're a tight, close-knit community, most of us know exactly what the other ones are thinking. Which is quite nice because you kind of don't have to explain yourself. Captain Mustard says, I want to feed Charlotte Church. Yeah, and we know what you want to feed her. You dirty old man. Oh, you dirty old man. God, I mean, he's obsessed with Charlotte Church. And have you seen her lately? Goodness gracious me. Oh, Barry Scott says, Boaty's World is top on my list. Way! I like Muscle One, Lord Duckman, and WV5150 or 5051. And obviously, Mustard is number 2 in my list. Everybody's congratulating Smelly Hole on getting me to crack up. Is that a thing? I didn't realise it was a competition to make me lose the plot. It's funny when it happens, though, and it's always genuine. And I don't mind losing the plot temporarily. It's when one of you buggers just really gets me, or you all keep it going, and I just lose it for 20 minutes at a time. That's when everything descends into a hugely unprofessional mess. Anyway, I didn't fun your wife, Barry. Oh, and here we go. We're straight into Father Ted. That gobshite again. Is he never off the air? Oh, dear. Oh, okay. Robojoe knows who you're talking about, Trace. The Charlotte Church Appreciation Society. I'll tell you what, you don't mess with Charlotte Church. She's a proper South Welsh girl, right? You mess with her, she'll drop the nut on you. She challenged Katie Hopkins to a fight. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I've told you before, it's one of the occasions when I actually wrote to somebody to express my disappointment. Charlotte Church, who comes from Newport, which is like the Bronx of South Wales, right? Seriously, Newport. Charlotte Church challenged Katie Hopkins to a boxing match and said they'd do it for charity because they'd fallen out. And I actually wrote to Charlotte. Well, I direct messaged her, and I said, I've never had such a feeling of being let down by a fellow South Welshie. I said, charity boxing match. Charlotte, my lovely, you're a Newport girl. Just nut her in the street. That's the way we do it. Oh dear. You'll meet Robojoe at POL, says Mustard. Or he'll meet Robojoe at POL. Well, I don't know who that's aimed at, but there we are. Put the flame out first. You don't want to go like the candle from last night's live. Don't talk to me about candles. I had a nightmare with that. Oh, the smoking dressing gown. Yes, indeed. Let's do a double live stream tomorrow, says Mustard. What do you mean by a double live stream, mate? I'm intrigued. What do you mean by that? A double live stream. Do you mean we do 2 live streams sequentially, or we each do a live stream simultaneously but on our own channels? I'm intrigued. Yes, Mustard, double the fun, says Andrew. Boaty, says Baddy Scrotter, your description of Newport is bang on. Tell me about it, I know. Mr. Stephen Parry from Port Sunlight in the Whittle, the Leisure Peninsula, has got a message that's been hidden. Yes, and I can't read that. Oh, split screen at the same time, says Andrew. Suggests Andrew. Well, there'd be no point in that because we're going to be in the same place at the same time tomorrow, aren't we? Oh, or did you mean tomorrow night, Mustard? Did you mean tomorrow night? Did you mean doing a split screen live stream tomorrow night? In which case, yeah, I'm totally up for that. In fact, oh, I think you'd have to be horizontal though, wouldn't you? Boaty asked Rover Joe, have you ever considered doing TikTok? Not really, Rover Joe, because I lived with a Chinese national, so I know what the purpose of TikTok is. And I know people get enormously flattered by the number of views that they get, but I have first-hand experience of exactly what the Chinese government is like. I've had them bugging my house, and I don't fancy giving them easy access to all of my online doings. For those of you who don't know, that is the purpose of TikTok, to give the Chinese government access to everything that you do online. Some of you might not worry about that sort of thing, and that's great. Good for you. I don't fancy it, and many other people don't, which is why TikTok is illegal in so many places. And if you're wondering, if you are a Chinese national, you get a different version of TikTok. You get a version that without all of the spyware and malware, because they don't need it. They've already got all of those under. I'll tell you what, if you, unless you get involved with a communist regime like China or wherever you want to add, it's an incredible culture shock. You can't believe the things that go on. And it makes you quite frightened. You get a sense of security, a false sense of security, because you think, well, I'm British, I'm on British soil. What can any foreign government do to me? Well, the answer to that, my loves, is quite a lot. As Mr. Putin has proved, then you can kill somebody in the UK and get away with it perfectly easily. The Skripals spring to mind. And yeah, you can kind of get away with any stuff like with impunity. My telephone was bugged. My telephone was bugged and my bloody cottage was bugged because I decided to live with a Chinese national who was on the government hit list or potential hit list for various reasons. And what can you do about it? Absolutely sod all. You know, if they go a little bit too far, what does the government do? They ban or whatever the correct word for it, a certain number of diplomats from the country that's done wrong, which is completely meaningless. And there'll be a press release saying, "Oh, this behaviour is intolerable. We've removed 21 whatever the country is diplomats. They've been blah blah blah," and it's absolute rubbish because every country in every other country has diplomats there for exactly that reason, so they can be expelled. That's the word I was looking for, expelled. Because in reality, if a country like Russia or China or whatever does something intolerable on UK soil or any other soil, like, literally committing an assassination, then what are you going to do about it? You're not going to start World War III, are you? And in reality, you're not going to bring a huge foreign government to boot. You're just going to do whatever you can not to lose face. Oh yeah, we've expelled 21 diplomats. We've taken care of it. In other words, we've done absolutely sod all. Dear me. Now then, where are we? Jess's diet. This week I will mostly be eating tara masalata. Split screen from two places. That would be great. I'm totally up for doing that. Ivor says you'd have to fill Boaty in on how to do a simultaneous live stream doings. Uh, no, I can do. I know how to do split screen, and in fact, starting next week, I was going to invite. I was going to start invite people on to either co-host live streams with me or come on as a guest. I thought that you're probably bored of me sitting here rambling at you, and you've probably heard most of my stories by now. I don't know how many more I've got. Probably quite a few. I've had quite an interesting life, and there's still a load of hideously inappropriate things that I've not been drunk enough to share with you yet. But I'm all up for sharing the live streams. But if you use a different phone for TikTok, what can they get from you? Says Trace. If you used a different phone using 4G on an untraceable SIM card, not so much. If you use a different phone at home from your Wi-Fi and your IP address, they'll get everything. Everything. Charlotte Church is the only woman I would do without my wife's permission, says Mustard. Oh God, I mean, there's so much to pick up on there. I mean, well, firstly, that suggests that there are women that your wife would give you permission to do, and I'm quite interested in pursuing that. And there's also the fact that you would. I mean, okay, right, cheating on a wife. I'm not going to preach, even though I'm a reverend minister of the church. The one sin that I've never committed, I've committed every sin known to man, except I've never, ever, ever been unfaithful. And I never will be. Well, I mean, I don't get the bloody opportunity to be unfaithful these days, but I've never, ever been unfaithful. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of beastliness over the years, but I've never technically been unfaithful. I might have had multiple women, within a set time period, like a night or actually an hour. And I might have had many different women within a week, but I've never been unfaithful. When I've been in a mutually committed relationship with somebody, I've never dipped my wick elsewhere. And as far as I know, I've never had that done to me either. It's not something that I would approve of, to be honest. It's a bit too near the knuckle. It's a bit too, that kind of thing could destroy somebody, really. And I wouldn't be down with that. But I suppose, but I mean, the main thing with that is, if you're gonna do that, why choose Charlotte Church? She's the size of a maisonette now. And oh God, I mean, maybe that's the wrong thing to say. Mustard does like them large, but gosh. I'll tell you one thing, Sunshine. Charlotte Church would get your act in order. She wouldn't stand for all of the shit that Mrs. Mustard does. She wouldn't stand for being called wife and not allowed her own identity. She wouldn't stand for you sodding off to the yard whenever you... Whoa, no. She's a good South Welsh woman. She would get you well and truly in order, mate. She'd send you off to work down the mine. You'd be in chapel on Sundays. It might not be the life of happy, easy pottering that you imagine. Oh, dear. Become a dictator and do whatever the fuck you like. Oh, simultaneously. What, tomorrow night, Mustard? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a live tomorrow night. Mustard and Boaty live. That would be fun. We've never been drunk together. Mustard and I have never been drunk together. we could, if we did a joint live, then that would be our first time of being a little bit tipsy in each other's company. And that could be very amusing. I would enjoy that very much. And we would have the safety net of being 90 minutes away from each other, so neither of us could try to drunkenly hump the other. Oh dear. Imagine if there was a Boaty podcast with guests. I'm trying to make that happen. I am genuinely, because YouTube offers a podcast functionality now, and I'm currently researching the equipment that I would need to set up a podcast. So hopefully that will happen. But I thought we could lead into it with doing either joint live streams, co-hosting, or somebody coming onto the live stream as a guest. So, guys, if any of you fancy co-hosting a live with me, or just appearing on the live as a guest, let me know. It's easy enough to do. All you need is, I think, all you need is a YouTube account, and you can do it. So, yeah, give me a shout. Boaty live with Katie Hopkins. I'd love that. I like Katie Hopkins, actually. Probably wrong to admit it. Mustard likes a... Hey, says Trace. Mustard likes a bungalow. You, Boaty, like a studio flat. There's plenty of choice in this world for everyone's housing needs. I was about to say that, says Ivor Spotty Botty. If you were drunk together, imagine the shenanigans. Yeah, well, you know, that's what I live in bloody fear of, the shenanigans. I mean, one of these days we're going to have to spend a night in a caravan together, aren't we, or a tent or something. Oh, dear. Bound to happen. It's been fun tonight. I've really enjoyed tonight. Hope you have too. Boaty, says Trace, when you get your shit together, I'd be totally up for it. Well, what shit do I need to get together, Trace? I can do it on YouTube. We can have two of us on YouTube. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I figured that was what you meant. I'm sure I can do that. It's easy enough to do, isn't it? You just go live together. You get the go live together option. I don't need any of that Streamcast or Dreamcast or any of that crap, I don't think. Do I need the screen to be within prodding distance? I'm not sure. We might have to work that out. That's one thing I do need to work out. And again, I might need this I need to work out how to... there's a way, apparently. Oh, well done, Barry. So that's two of you queuing up for a guest slot already. There's a way that I can use my MacBook, which is here. Oh, there it is. There's a way that I can use that as my immediate thing, and I can use the iPhone as like a remote camera. So I can control everything on the MacBook, but I can still have the camera down there. I'm trying to get my head around that at the moment. Might take a while. I've only had the MacBook for about 5 months, so obviously I've only just worked out how to turn it on. The podcast idea I would love to do. And I genuinely am researching that. Monday would be best for me from 10 to 11, says Barry. And Trey says, okay, well, a Monday for me is better. Charlotte Church is lovely, says Mustard, who's got his mind very firmly fixated on, well, let's go with Mustard's fantasy, shall we? Okay, then, Mustard. Talk us through how you would go with Charlotte Church, given that you had the opportunity and, on the basis that your wife would never find out. Talk us through it, from the initial the initial, what's the word? Oh God, I've forgotten the word. Oh, I hate getting old. You get a mental block on words. Not the enticement, you know what I mean? Seduction. Yeah. um, yeah. Take us through how it would go from the initial introduction and seduction right through to the nitty gritty of rolling her in flour and aiming for the damp patch, or asking her to fart and give you a slight clue. Oh, right, okay, we're sorted. Barry's going to do 10 till 11. Tracy's going to do 11 till 12. Excellent. Happy days. Should we do that next Monday? And Mustard and I are going to do tomorrow night. This is all exciting, isn't it? I'm really excited about all of this. Charlotte Church's YouTube channel has got 1.4 million subs. Get her on your live. Now, I don't bother with those relatively unsuccessful channels. I've got Charlotte Dobre. She's much bigger than that. Bless her. Oh, another Charlotte. Another Charlotte. There you go. We could have a Charlotte off. We could have a Charlotte off. We could do a 4-way live stream, ideally all together. Mustard could bring along Charlotte Church, and I would bring along Charlotte Dobre, who, as you all know, is much more famous and is really into me. You all know that. You've all seen the introduction on some of my YouTube videos where, she just blatantly tries to seduce me, which is more than Mustard's ever had on any of his. He hasn't got Charlotte Church on his channel saying, "Come on, Mustard." Oh, well, actually, she's Welsh, isn't it? Come on, Mustard, let's get it on, isn't it? Boaty, would you ever consider a Twitch stream? I've done one, Rover Joe, but not on my own. I did a guest slot on Astro, and that's what led to me doing these live streams. I would do a Twitch stream, but I don't know how to do it. The Mills, right, Monday the 4th is good for me if it's good for Barry, says Trace. The Mills and Boone version or our version, says Ivor Spotty Botty. Wine, dine, then slip one in. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh God. But yeah, I mean, ideally, if I was as clever as some of you people, I would do all of these posh live stream things like Simon does, where he has this, that, and the other, and simulcasts on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. I don't know how to do it. I'm too thick. I mean, I'm not thick, but I'm kind of technologically thick. What? I'll get you on my Twitch, Boaty. You have been requested. I'm up for that. I'm happy to. If any of you guys want to do a live stream or already do live streams and you would like me to come on, I will do it. 100%, absolutely, I'll be there. And God help you. Mustard, says Barry Scrotter. Are you still having Boaty's face on the bonnet of Fred the Shed? I didn't know about that. Oh, God. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, I was going to talk about some car news because it's not really car news, it's car thoughts and the evolution of the fleet. Now, last night or the other night, I spoke about maybe getting rid of the Land Rover because do you remember we had that discussion about the insane inflation of insurance prices, and particularly with Land Rovers. And I said, well, look, my insurance renewal can't be far off for Boo, my Land Rover. And if it's going to be a crazy one, then I'm just going to get rid. And I've been thinking about that. And coincidentally, This morning, I had an insurance renewal come through for Sheeson, for the Honourable Sheeson, and it's not insane, but it's a little bit too much. So, but it occurred to me that Sheeson maybe Sheeson will also qualify as a classic. So I might be able to get Sheeson um, onto my Footman James Fleet Classic policy with Lewis Hamilton and Wet Leg and Stigbert. So that's something that I'm going to try and do. But then it occurred to me that if I do that, and if Sheeson gets insured as a classic, which will cost me about 35 quid instead of the 300 and something quid that the renewal was going to cost me, that would be a nice amount of money saved. But what that would mean was that I could no longer use Sheeson as a daily, which would kind of suit me. I'm not comfortable using Sheeson as a daily. So I was thinking today that if Sheeson does go on a classic policy, and therefore the mileage becomes very limited, but the price, becomes next to nothing. And I don't want to use Sheeson as a daily, ideally. I'm not supposed to be using them now. It's supposed to be Brian, but obviously Brian is fucked. Um, and I thought that, okay, well, if Sheeson can go on as classic, then um, Miss Boo, the Freelander, that's coming up to the year anytime soon. The insurance is going to be insane. I will sell Miss Boo and I will buy something that I can use as a daily. Something diesel, economical, relatively boring, that sort of thing. And I thought that would actually work out quite well. But then, and this is a genuine coincidence, I got an email this evening while I was at work, and it was my insurance renewal for Boo, the Land Rover. And it's not insane. It's not insane. It's gone up. It's definitely gone up, but it's not insane. It's gone up from like 320 quid to 360 quid, or if I pay in installments, which I would have to, 420 quid, which is a bit much, but nothing like the quotes that other people have been getting on Land Rovers. And I do love owning a Land Rover, and I do love Miss Boo, and it does make sense for me to have a 4x4, obviously, given where I live and given what the winters are like. So that insurance renewal has made me change my thinking a bit. I mean, I'll still have a little bit of a tweak because that renewal has come through with 5 years no claims. I've now got 11 years no claims floating about because Stigbert's policy has lapsed. Now that Stigbert's gone on to my joint classic Footman James policy. And ideally, I would get Miss Boo using no claims onto a non-classic policy, but allied to my Footman James, so that they all come in together. But that's changed my thinking about the cars. But it kind of has and it kind of hasn't. But I am thinking that I do need to sort out a more suitable daily than Sheeson's not a bad daily. They're not too uneconomical, but I've got an emotional connection with the car, and I don't want to run it into the ground just because of that emotional connection. And I'm aware that the CVT gearbox can be prone to some issues. I would be more comfortable with Sheeson not being a daily car. So I might need to find a way to. This is what I'm thinking. I need to get the fleet refined so that all of the fleet are next to nothing on the insurance because they're all on a classic limited mileage policy with old Footman James. And then outside of that, I just have Miss Boo and a daily. So I might need to find a way to get a daily onto the fleet. Maybe that means I need to sell something in order to make that happen. But yeah, something like well, actually, I became, what's his name? Albert Bellend. Al, yeah, Albert Bellend kind of grew on me when I was driving him yesterday. Mustard Diesel 45. So maybe something like that, an L series diesel. God knows I saved a fortune when I was dailying Derek the L series diesel. Maybe something like a 45 diesel would be an ideal daily. And it would also save me money in two ways. If my daily was a very economical diesel, and bear in mind that I get cheap diesel down, oh no, I can't talk about that. I definitely don't get cheap diesel because that wouldn't be entirely legal. Haha. Yeah, but yeah, so I'd save money running the diesel as a daily, and I'd save a lot more money getting all of the other cars onto a classic policy and just literally using them as classics on that. Anyway, that's enough of. God, look at the time, darlings. Look at the time. It's time to say good night, isn't it? Right, excellent. So next Monday, if all goes well, I've got. So next Monday, if all goes well, I've got Barry and Tracy both doing hour-long guest spots on Monday Night Live. Tomorrow night, I've got Mustard joining me for, what day is it tomorrow? Well, it's today now, isn't it? So tonight, I've got Mustard joining me for Wednesday Night Live. And Tracy's going to get me on her Twitch. Jolly good. If you sell Boo, no more Land Rover lunches. And that's a good point. I love Boo. I don't want to sell Boo. I was just panicking about the insurance coming in. I even had another mad thought. I had another mad thought thinking that, okay, now I know that I can insure the Freelander quite cheaply, relatively, well, relatively reasonably. And now I've got 11 years no claim knocking about, not on a policy, then maybe I should try and find a way to buy James out of the company and have James, the two-wheel drive Freelander, as my daily. Two-wheel drive, really loads more economical, loads easier to drive, loads more reliable. Would that be crazy? Having that as my daily basher, my daily beater. I don't know. It's a thought, but it's too late to be thinking at the moment. I have to head out to Darth and Househouse Barry. We're all going to go now. This is the end, darlings. Don't forget to like, say, street. Oh, don't freeze the wine. Bloody hell. Don't blow up the candles. Oh, the wine is safe. The wine is safe. Excellent. Oh, and you're definitely not selling Stigbut, my favourite car in the fleet boat. No, I'm definitely not selling Stigbut. He's a favourite of mine as well. Oh, just some thoughts. We can talk about that further in the future. The engine room is starting to feel just a little bit uncomfortable again. That doesn't bode well for what could happen over the next. Right, what to tell you about the rest of it? I got some notifications of videos that I'm tagged in, so I presume that Mustard has uploaded our trip yesterday. So I assume that I don't have to keep it secret anymore, but I will check the videos first before I upload any of mine. Thank you, Jim. Good night to you. Tomorrow I will be going to the yard. Not for a full day or anything like that. Obviously, I'm at work tomorrow night. I'm at the restaurant. But tomorrow, the weather's going to be pants tomorrow. I told you I was going to the yard, and I said I might go and have a bit of fun, take minge bag. But the weather's going to be really awful, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the 45. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm going to take Mustard 45 and travel cheaply on diesel. So I'll be heading to the yard at normal-ish time, a little bit earlier if I can manage it. And then I will pick Mustard up. We might have lunch. He's promised to buy me lunch. So we might have lunch first. And then I will bring Mustard back here. And then he will pick up his car, the 45, and he will bugger off. So we'll get some footage there. I don't know if we'll get a live done. Probably not. But then we're going to be doing a joint live tomorrow night now, so that'll be fun. But there will definitely be some footage and some fun. Might get a lunch video out of it, so I'm looking forward to that actually. I, of course, will see you tomorrow night for Wednesday Night Live with Mustard at 11 o'clock. So there we are. Oh, he has revealed the car. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Right, that means I can, well, as I'm going to the yard tomorrow morning, when I finish this, I'm going to have to try and cobble together a quick daily diary to put out first thing tomorrow morning before I head off. Why not a Rover 75 diesel as a daily? I'm not fond of Rover 75s. I've had 2 Rover 75 diesels, a Saloon and a Tourer, and I'm not their biggest fan. I like the ZT. In fact, I prefer the ZT, but I would be happier with a 25 or a 45. And when I think about it, a 45 Saloon L Series diesel pre-facelift might actually be the ideal car. Economical. I'm very comfortable in a 45. They're brilliant to drive. They've got a great chassis, great handling dynamics. And there's more room in the back than in a Rover 75. And that would suit me because occasionally I like to give customers a lift. If they can't get a taxi or something, then I occasionally take customers home or that sort of thing. And at least there's a bit of room in the back of a 45. So I might start keeping my eyes peeled. I need to check first just to be sure that Sheeson does qualify for the old classic insurance. But there we are. A 75 V8 would be nice. Not as a bloody daily. Not as a daily. And given what everybody else has said about them, and I have driven one, I've driven Liz's, of course. I'd have the 190, to be honest. I'd take the 190 over the 260. I'm very, very fond of Stig. But right, that's it, darlings. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for your company. Thank you for being wonderful. I've really enjoyed tonight. And please take great care of yourselves. Have a safe and peaceful night. Please join me tomorrow, 11 o'clock, Wednesday Night Live, where you will also have the pleasure of Captain Mustard's company. Mustard and Boaty get drunk on a joint live stream. Have the best day that you can tomorrow. Much love from me and a very good night. Achoo. And indeed. Oh, gosh. Whoa.